The architecture of reciprocal bonds. A forensic investigation into one-sided attachment and the unmaking of the self. Prologue. The silent epidemic of the uneven bridge. Imagine signing a mortgage for a house that only you can see, paying the monthly installments in blood, only to discover that the land it sits on never legally existed. That is the architecture of one-sided love. Every second, somewhere on this planet, a human being is drafting a psychological contract that the other party never signed. We call it many things. Unrequited love, a crush, devotion, or simply caring too much. But the investigative journalist in me demands we look at the autopsy reports. The philosopher demands we examine the logic. The psychologist demands that we measure the cognitive distortion. And the psychoanalyst demands we listen to the ghost in the room, the one whispering that this suffering is noble. Welcome to the pathology of unilateral expectation. We are going to dissect the most dangerous verb in the human emotional dictionary. Attachment. Not love. Love is a bilateral trade route. Attachment is often a unilateral addiction. By the end of this essay, you will not see or crush your distant friend or your silent partner the same way again. You will see the scaffolding of your own psyche. Question. Before you read another line, take a mental inventory. Who is the first person you think of when you wake up? Now, do you have any actual, verifiable 2026 calendar evidence that they think of you first, too? Or are you inferring? The journalist's investigation, the forensic tally of unequal investment. In journalism, we follow the data. The data on one-sided attachment is a crime scene. Let us act as investigative reporters. We are going to subpoena the inner monologue of a person trapped in asymmetric attachment. Let's call the subject Alex. Alex has been seeing someone, Taylor, for 6 months. They are not exclusive. Taylor replies to texts within an average of 14 hours. Alex replies in 45 seconds. Taylor initiates contact 12% of the time. Alex initiates 88%. Alex remembers Taylor's coffee order, shoe size, and mother's birthday. Taylor once forgot Alex's name at a party. If we were reporting on a financial partnership, say, a joint venture between two companies, and we saw that one company was contributing 88% of the capital, 100% of the logistical planning, and receiving 12% of the returns, we would not call that a partnership. We would call that a hostile takeover of the self. We would send an alert to the Securities and Exchange Commission. But in relationships, we romanticize the imbalance. The investigative deconstruction. Let me present the expectation ledger. Asset. Your time, your emotional regulation, your dopamine, your future planning, your vulnerability. Liability. Their indifference, their silence, their conditional attention, their absence. When you tally the ledger after 90 days, the net result is always the same. Emotional bankruptcy. The one-sided attacker is not in a relationship with the other person. They are in a relationship with a phantom. They are dating the version of Taylor that exists only in Alex's prefrontal cortex during a 2 a.m. rumination session. The journalism rule of 3 sources. In breaking news, you need 3 sources to confirm a story. Apply that to your attachment. 1. The verbal source. Have they explicitly said, "I am equally invested in this specific dynamic"? 2. The behavioral source. Do their actions cost them something? Time, sleep, money, social capital? 3. The temporal source. Has this consistency persisted for more than 90 days without manipulation? If you cannot source all 3, you are not reporting news. You are writing fiction. Question. Have you just realized that you are currently financing a relational reality that the other person doesn't even know exists? The psychological machinery why your brain lies to you, intermittent reinforcement. Put down the phone. I'll tell you why you can't. It's not love. It's a slot machine. The psychologist steps into the room now. B.F. Skinner, the father of behaviorism, taught us something terrifying in the 1950s with his operant conditioning chamber, the Skinner box. He put a hungry rat in a box with a lever. If the rat pressed the lever and got a pellet every time, the rat pressed the lever only when hungry. Predictable. Boring. Then, Skinner changed the program. Now, when the rat presses the lever, he gets a pellet randomly. Sometimes after one press. Sometimes after 40 presses. Sometimes not at all. What happened? The rat went insane. The rat pressed the lever obsessively, relentlessly, until it collapsed from exhaustion. The dopamine hit of the uncertain reward is stronger than the certainty of a steady reward. Welcome to your ex. Welcome to the hot and cold friend. Welcome to the breadcrumber. Clinical analysis. When someone gives you attention 10% of the time and withdraws it 90% of the time, your brain enters a scarcity loop. Your amygdala, the threat detector, screams, "They didn't reply. Danger." Then, when they finally throw you a hey at 11 p.m., your nucleus accumbens, the reward center, floods with dopamine. You feel relief. You confuse the cessation of pain with happiness. The cognitive distortion quadrant, the four horsemen of unilateral hell. 1. Magical thinking. If I just say the right thing, they will change. 2. Effort justification. I've already spent 6 months crying over them. If I stop now, I lose those 6 months. Spoiler. You don't get them back anyway. 3. Mind reading. Assuming their silence is processing trauma instead of watching Netflix. 4. Personalization. Believing their indifference reflects your worth rather than their availability. Stop scrolling mentally. You are not special because you can endure a cold shoulder. Endurance is not a virtue when you are enduring poison. Question. If your best friend described this exact dynamic to you, the anxiety, the waiting, the rationing of affection, would you tell them to fight harder or run faster? Why do you hold yourself to a lower standard than you hold your friends? The psychoanalytic excavation, the ghost in the nursery. You aren't chasing them. You are chasing a feeling from 1987. The psychoanalysts, Freud, Lacan, Winnicott, do not care about Taylor's behavior. The psychoanalyst wants to know why Alex chose Taylor. Because here is the uncomfortable truth of the unconscious. We do not fall in love with people. We fall in love with familiar patterns of suffering. Object relations theory, Fairbairn. The mind is a theater. In early childhood, we internalize objects, parents, caregivers. If those caregivers were inconsistent, warm 1 minute, cold the next, the child learns a dangerous lesson. Love is intermittent. The child's psyche splits. It creates a good object, the warm mom, and a bad object, the absent mom. But the child cannot survive hating the caregiver, so the child represses the anger and turns it inward. The child concludes, I am bad. They are good. If I am perfectly good, they will stay. Fast forward 30 years. Alex meets Taylor. Is Taylor cold? Taylor leaves Alex on red. Alex doesn't get angry. Alex gets aroused. Because Taylor's coldness activates the bad object from childhood. Alex's unconscious thinks. Ah. Here is the puzzle I was trained to solve. If I try hard enough, I will turn the bad object into the good object and finally heal the original wound. The psychoanalytic verdict. It is a trap. The other person cannot heal a wound they did not inflict. The death drive, Thanatos versus Eros. Freud argued we have a life instinct, Eros seeking pleasure, connection, and a death instinct, Thanatos seeking quiescence, self-destruction, the return to an inorganic state. One-sided attachment is a Thanatos operation. You are not seeking joy. You are seeking resolution through exhaustion. You want to hit the wall so hard that you finally stop feeling. You are using the other person as a tool for your own emotional suicide. The Lacanian mirror. Jacques Lacan said we spend our lives chasing the objet petit, the unattainable object of desire. The moment you possess it, it ceases to be desirable. In one-sided attachment, the distance is the drug. The moment Taylor actually loves Alex back, Alex might lose interest. Why? Because Alex is an addict of longing, not of Taylor. Question. Look closely. Is the pain of their absence actually more familiar and therefore more comfortable to you than the terror of a peaceful, boring, reciprocal love? The philosophical scaffolding, the ethics of expectation, Kant versus the heart. Do you have the right to expect anything at all? Most people will say no. They are wrong. The philosopher arrives with a gavel. We must discuss Immanuel Kant. Kant gave us the categorical imperative, specifically the formula of humanity. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. The defense of expectation. Progressive psychology tells us you shouldn't expect anything from anyone. This is a lie designed to protect the indifferent. If you are in a declared relationship, friendship, romantic, familial, you are ethically required to have expectations. Why? Because if there are no expectations, there is no contract. Without a contract, you are treating the other person as a background object to your own fantasies, and they are treating you as a disposable utility. The philosopher says, reciprocity is the baseline of moral respect. Let me introduce the golden rule of relational logic. Do not do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That is a projection. Do unto others as they explicitly agree to have done unto them. That is consent. Expect others to do exactly what they have shown you they do. That is empiricism. The phenomenology of the we, Husserl and Sartre. Sartre famously wrote, "Hell is other people." He meant that the look of the other person objectifies you. But reciprocal love is the antidote to the look. And mutual attachment, you say we. That we is a shared subjectivity. And one-sided attachment, you say, I hope. There is no we. There is only a stalker of a fantasy. The hard truth? You are not a victim of their indifference. You are an accomplice to your own fantasy. You have built a statue of them in your mind, and you are angry at the real person for not being made of marble. Question: if you stripped away every fantasy, every potential and every maybe and looked only at the past 30 days of recorded behavior, would the evidence support a partnership or a hostage situation? The forensic pathology of potential, the most expensive drug on earth. But you don't understand. I see their potential. Stop. The investigative journalist demands a warrant for the word potential. You do not date a blueprint. You do not marry a renovation project. You do not pour your soul into a real estate listing for a building that is currently on fire. The cost-benefit analysis of potential. Let me map the neural pathway of the potential addict. 1. Observation. They are cold, dismissive, avoidant. 2. Cognitive reframe. They are just wounded, scared, busy. 3. Fantasy construction. If I am patient enough, they will become warm, attentive, secure. 4. Investment. You deposit more love. 5. Loss. They remain cold. 6. Escalation. I must not have invested enough. This is the gambling addict's fallacy. The slot machine doesn't pay out because you have put in 100 quarters. The slot machine pays out based on a random algorithm you cannot see. The journalist's subpoena to your excuses. Excuse? They are afraid of intimacy. Reality. They are not afraid of intimacy. They are perfectly intimate with their friends, their dog, and their hobbies. They are just not intimate with you. Excuse? They have an avoidant attachment style. Reality. An explanation is not a justification. A tornado has an atmospheric explanation. You still run from it. Excuse? They said they will change. Reality. Look at the contract. Verbal promises are not legally binding in love. Behavior is the only legally admissible evidence. You are currently dating a ghost that only lives in your head. The real person, the breathing one, has already left the building. You are performing a monologue for an empty chair. Question: if they never change, if they stay exactly as they are today for the next 10 years, would you still sign up for this? Or are you only staying because you believe in a future that exists solely in your imagination? The psychosocial autopsy why letting go fails, the sunk cost fallacy. You can't let go because you've already spent too much. The psychologist and economist collaborate here. The sunk cost fallacy is the human tendency to continue an endeavor once an investment in money, effort, or time has been made. It is why we stay in bad movies for the last 20 minutes. It is why we finish a terrible meal. It is why we stay in the one-sided bond. The calculation? Investment. 2 years, 1,000 hours of anxiety, $5,000 in therapy, 15 pounds of stress weight. Current value. $0. Future probability of reciprocity, based on data. 2%. Rational decision? Abort. Your emotional decision? But I've come this far. You are not preserving love. You are trying to retroactively justify your suffering. You want the pain to have meaning. So you endure more pain to manufacture meaning. The clinical intervention, the radical acceptance protocol. 1. Name the addiction. I am addicted to the hope of them, not to them. 2. Detox the environment. Remove the digital windows from their life. You cannot detox with a syringe in your arm. 3. Rewrite the narrative. I did not lose them. I returned them to the universe because the rental agreement was predatory. The scandal of self-betrayal. The investigative journalist asks. Who is the one person you promised to protect? You. When you chase a person who does not chase you, you are committing a slow betrayal of your own soul. You are telling your inner child, your pain is acceptable collateral damage for the fantasy of their love. Question. Who betrayed you first? The person who left, or the part of you that decided to stay and watch yourself burn? The synthesis, the architecture of the reciprocal bond, the only safe port. Enough pathology. Let me show you what the ceiling looks like. We have done the autopsy. Now, let us build the cathedral. The philosopher, psychologist, psychoanalyst, and journalist all agree on one singular metric for relational health. Ease. Reciprocal attachment does not feel like a rollercoaster. It feels like a flat, wide road on a sunny day. It is boring to the traumatized brain. But boredom is safety. The 5 pillars of reciprocal architecture, the investigative checklist. 1. Symmetry of initiation. They call you as often as you call them. Not 50/50ths on a stopwatch, but a felt sense of mutual hunger. 2. Tolerance for your needs. When you say, I need more, they do not call you needy. They ask, how much? 3. The no test. Can you say no to them without fear of withdrawal of affection? If you cannot, you are a hostage. 4. The crisis mirror. When you are in crisis, do they show up? Or do they vanish? Note. Someone who vanishes during your crisis is not bad at emotions. They are a fair weather tourist of your life. 5. The future tense. Do they include you in their tomorrow without you having to ask? The philosophical reframe, Spinoza. Spinoza said that sadness is the transition from a greater perfection to a lesser one. One-sided attachment is a sadness machine. It diminishes your power to act. Reciprocal love is joy, the transition from a lesser perfection to a greater one. It makes you stronger, clearer, more alive. If they don't add to your conatus, you're striving to persist, they are not a partner. They are a parasite. The psychoanalytic celebration of the ordinary devoted mother, Winnicott. Winnicott said the good enough parent isn't perfect. They are reliably present. In adult love, the good enough partner is not a fantasy hero. They are the person who remembers to buy milk, who texts good luck before the meeting, who holds the space. They are dependably there. Question. Have you ever mistaken chaos for passion? If a relationship is peaceful and reciprocal, does your trauma brain label it as boring or not real? The call to action, the excommunication of the phantom. This is not a passive reading. This is a defibrillator. The call to action, to be performed within 24 hours. 1. The forensic audit, today at 6 p.m. Take a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. Left side. What I have actually received in the last 90 days, specific dates, actions. Right side. What I have given. Do not write feelings. Write data. Example. Texted good morning 85 times, received good morning 3 times. Look at the 2 columns. If the columns are not within 30% of balance, you are looking at a bankruptcy filing. 2. The renegotiation or termination. Send 1 message. Do not write a paragraph. Do not write a novel. Write. I value reciprocity. I've noticed a dynamic is currently unbalanced. I am stepping back to recalibrate my energy. I wish you well. Notice what you did not write. Please change. Why are you like this? I love you. Why? Because you are not asking for a performance review. You are withdrawing your labor from a failing company. 3. The 30-day sovereignty protocol. Block the digital windows. No stories. No last scene. No Venmo transactions. You cannot quit heroin while working in a pharmacy. Every time you feel the urge to check on them, do 20 jumping jacks. Reroute the somatic energy. The mantra: I am not a rehabilitation center for emotionally unavailable people. 4. The pivot to the self. You have spent 4,500 words reading about them. For the next 30 days, spend 4,500 minutes on yourself. What is the hobby you abandoned? What is the career move you deferred because you were waiting for them to be ready? Do that. Question: Are you willing to be the villain in their story, the one who gave up, in order to be the hero in your own? Conclusion: the master's food for thought. The greatest prison is not the one with bars. It is the one where you are waiting for a visitor who lost the address years ago. We have traveled the terrain. The journalist showed you the data. The psychologist showed you the slot machine. The psychoanalyst showed you the ghost in the nursery. The philosopher showed you the ethical contract. And all of us arrive at the same door. The proposition? Never get too attached to anyone unless they also feel the same towards you, because one-sided expectations can mentally destroy you. Let me now give you the food for thought chewed, digested, and metabolized through the intelligence of 4 disciplines. The food. You believe you are attached to them. You are mistaken. You are attached to a specific neural prediction, the anticipation that, eventually, the pain will stop and the reward will start. That is not love. That is a miscalibrated threat detection system. Consider the physics of resonance. A tuning fork will not vibrate unless struck by a frequency that matches its own. You are a tuning fork. You have been vibrating in a room of silence, hoping the silence is just a very quiet song. But silence does not sing. Indifference does not love. Attachment without mutual recognition is not a relationship. It is a hallucination shared by one. The one-sided attacker says, "But I feel it so strongly, it must be real." The psychoanalyst whispers back, "The strength of a feeling has no correlation to the reality of its source. A phantom limb feels real. The pain is excruciating. But there is no leg." The ultimate litmus test for the rest of your life. Before you invest your attachment, ask the universe one question. Does this person wake up in the morning and voluntarily choose to build the bridge towards me, or am I the only architect? If you are the only one drawing the blueprints, hammering the nails, and inspecting the wood, stop. Walk back to the shore. Let the bridge remain unbuilt. Because on the other side of that uncrossed river is not loneliness. On the other side is self-respect. And self-respect is the only love that never ghosts you. Final call to action, the verdict. You have the evidence. The trial is over. The jury, your gut, your nervous system, your exhausted heart, has returned the verdict. Guilty of self-abandonment. The sentence? Not isolation. But sovereignty. Leave the courtroom of your mind. Go outside. Touch something real that touches you back. The wind. The earth. The pet that waits for you. The friend who calls you. Do not waste another neuron on the person who treats your heart like a returnable bottle deposit. You are not a backup plan. You are not a maybe. You are the main event. Act like it. Please tell me what you think and how you feel about this issue. Analyze it, brainstorm it, debate it, and if you like it, please share it. Thank you for watching. I truly and highly appreciate you, and God bless you.